Sorry about that, guys. I had unplugged some stuff and apparently forgot to tell OBS that this was my mic. My bad. It was totally YouTube's fault. That's what happened. It was YouTube. It was YouTube. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I could hear myself. Alright, thanks for letting me know, guys. Holy crap, that was fun. How was that? How was that for an intro? Alright, but anyways, how you guys doing? It's Thursday. That's exciting. Let's get some stuff done. Could you not hear my mic in the opening scene either? That's friggin' amazing. Crickets. Oh, all you can hear is the crickets because of the desktop sound. That's actually pretty fantastic. I love that. That's perfect. That's amazing too. All you can hear is crickets. You know what? I'm not even gonna edit that out. That is staying in for the release of the video when I do release it. That's amazing. It's just even better that there's crickets in the background covering that up. Why can I upgrade you? That was weird. Yeah, I do like talking to myself. I was just warming up, guys. All I was saying was watermelon over and over again. That's actually what actors use. When you get like scenes where you're in a restaurant and stuff, a lot will just say watermelon watermelon over and over again. Because it makes your mouth move a lot. And it makes it look like you're legitimately talking. Actor's trick. Hey Sierra, how you doing? Hey Titan. Thursday's terrible. Thursday's a good day. Thursday is a day before the weekend. So it's one day closer to the weekend, I guess. So we have a lot more framing to do. But we're getting very, very close. I'm new, Skippy? Oh, awesome. Welcome, man. Okay, I think I got my Streamlabs and my bot up. Is my bot working, guys? Has anyone tried the bot yet? Streamlabs is good to go. I love how I did like that full screen intro as well too and talk to you guys and stuff. No sound. It's amazing. That's how I do streaming. Bam. Thank God my internet is good today. Cheers, guys. Happy. I'm always drinking coffee. Actually, that coffee is kind of cold now. Kind of don't want it. It's been sitting there for a little bit. My favorite coffee is that first coffee in the morning that you just brewed after a good night's sleep. I'm thirsty. Okay, Rebars, you're gonna be derpy on me today, aren't you? Can you guys see or hear the little one walking around back there? It is gloomy and doomy today. It's been raining all day. It's kind of gross. Went out, did a lot of running around, made an Let's Play episode. Now I'm streaming. A little tired today, but that's okay. That's how I do. That is how you do a stream pro style, guys. You get everyone pumped up, and then you don't notice that OBS doesn't have your mic set correctly. I usually check everything too. I was just this time I was confident. See, it's good to have confidence, but false confidence can be bad. Oh. Oh. Gotta go, Skippy. Chat to you later. Okay, see you later, Joseph. Thanks for stopping in, dude. Watermelon are nice. Watermelon are awesome. I like to drink watermelon, basically. Instead of drinking water, you just have watermelon. I stole all the sunshine. Did you? Nice. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. That means I got some stuff done today. I have a ton of yard work still to do. I gotta put a fence up. There's got to be a fence up between me and the salvage yard next door. And the grass like grew like 2 feet overnight. It's insane. We got like this. We got a microburst last night, and oh my god, like the rain was coming. The rain was being sucked into the house. Like that was just like it came so fast. Like I was getting hit by rain on the other side of the room. I'm like, what the hell's going on? It was so confusing. Maniacs, welcome to the channel, dude. Thanks for the sub. Give back the sunshine. How do I make a building like yours? Lots of patience and lots of multitasking. There's lots of tricks on how to legitimately mine resources very quickly, and that's what we do here. This is all, of course, built in survival. I've heard a few people assume otherwise, but you stick around and learn the tricks, or just make an assumption. I stumbled into you. I watched all your base tour videos. Oh, thanks for radiating. Yeah, there's some good talent on the server, man. There's a lot of good builds on Survive and Thrive. I can't wait to see what Alpha 16 brings. It's going to be interesting because like every alpha is different, so I'll probably take a different approach to running the server this time, right? Who knows? We'll see. We'll see what happens. I want to make POIs on Alpha 16. I want to make that a thing. And I want to make it so that you guys can use it off the launcher if at all possible. So that you guys can like use my POI pack to spawn in POIs on a new random gen. It's going to be interesting though. I don't know how it's going to work with the new socket system. How random gen's going to work. That's what I mean. Like everything is all up in the air. But I'm going to do my best to like bring some different stuff to the channel, that's for sure. I do like Let's Plays, but I don't want to be doing Let's Plays 7 days a week. I just, I don't know. I can do it. I just refuse to do it, I guess. if I'm not enjoying doing it. Give me the fucking sunshine. Dude, you can't swear, man. Kids might be watching this shit. Cupcake frosting, how you doing? Good to see you again. Sorry if I didn't say hi to you. Are you gonna get back to Castle Miranda? Probably not, dude. I did borrow another PS4, and it still ran like absolute crap on that platform as well, too. If you watch my last episode I made of the PS4, it's laggy. It's unplayable, man. So, oof. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to put her down for a while. That's gonna be happening. I'm sorry, forgive me. I'm enjoying some hot weather from inside. Well, that's not the right place to do it. I would be, honestly, right now, I would be outside getting my yard work done. All my neighbors are great. I have, like, all older neighbors, and they all have their own gardens and stuff, and they're all out there all the time doing gardening. So, yeah, it's a really nice neighborhood. It's an older neighborhood. Shit. And I'm not a loud person either at all, so it's nice. They're all quiet. Well, the only neighbor I have trouble with is the old lady that lives next door. She must be like 90 something. Like she's hunchback, like just barely mobile. Really nice. But her son's a piece of shit. He pretty much uses her property to dump like crap. Like he's a hoarder, right? So he hoards like useless shit and it just rusts and rots in the yard. And yeah, that's the only one I have trouble with. And I don't have a fence along that side, so I'm putting up a fence next sunny day we get. Put up the fence. I've caught him in my yard many times as well, too. It's just, he's useless. Well, that stinks. We're waiting for the pool to open up next week. Oh, nice. I've always wanted a pool. Or wanted access to a pool that I didn't have to go and share with 1,000 other people. And whoops. Oh, well. Hey, Lakia, how you doing? Good to see ya. Welcome, welcome. I have a feeling we're going to be catching a lot of the people we regularly don't catch on today's stream. Because I'm oh. Okay, Funzix, that made sense. Really weird. I must have put a little bit too much weight on the outside, that's what that was. Dang it. Dang it, Bobby. But yeah, welcome. Good to see a lot of you as well. Okay, there we go. You shouldn't have to put up with someone else's junk. I know, I really want to call bylaw on him. It's like, I've already told him, like, because at one point, he was taking all of the neighbors' leaves, like they would put out at the end of the driveway in those brown bags, and throwing them in his backyard. And he looks at me, he's like, oh, yeah, we can use for compost, eh? And they literally just sat there. And then it snowed on them, and then it melted this spring, and I'm like, get rid of those fucking things. Like, because the city's battling rats right now, they just pulled out, like, ancient sewer systems and unearthed a whole unknown empire of ratdom that the city's never had before. So they're really bad right now. And they're like paying tons of money. And like he had nests of them back there just nesting in that shit. I'm just like, dude, no, get fucking rid of that. He's like, oh, we're using it for comp. I'm like, no, you're fucking not. It's sitting there nesting fucking rats. And I told him, too. I was like, I have an 18-year-old dog. If he gets bit by a rat and I have to put him down, I'm fucking coming after you. So he shortly after that cleaned that up. And he pulled a few of his vehicles out of the yard. He still has like 3 vehicles that are just rusting in it. Like, you live 20 feet away from your neighbor. You don't do shit like that. You want to do shit like that? Buy your own acreage. Where you can. Okay, I don't know where we came up, guys. Where did we nerd pull up last time? Oh, it's way down there at the end. Okay. Look at that, we got another layer done while we shot the shit and I bitched about my hick neighbor. But the one beside me and the 2 behind me, because the lots are split at the back, so I got half of my one neighbor, half of the other neighbor. Both of those guys are cool. They just do their own like little gardening thing in the backyard. You can use it for compost. Oh my god, it was literally a rat haven. Okay, I think I should take that one out so I don't confuse it. Yeah. Okay, let's go up one more level and start this level. Bam. And rats are gross too. They're fucking nasty. Is there a way to get stainless steel without creative? Yeah. You don't need creative for stainless steel, dude. You buy it from traders. You can only get it from the trader, man. Go visit your trader and visit him often. Stainless steel is a pain in the ass. I do believe stainless steel needs to be rebalanced a little more. Because, like, to upgrade to stainless steel, you literally have to make a daily trip to a trader. It's just, ugh. And there's very little of it. Sometimes you find a decent amount. I found a decent amount once. But, in my opinion, it's not really worth it. Like, because it breaks down by the time you're able to replace it again on Horde nights. T-Neighbor is awesome. We live at a corner. It shares a huge lawn. Cool. Actually, my older neighbor yesterday did my front lawn. Talk about awkward. I felt bad because I have an electric lawnmower, but I just haven't gotten out to get an extension cord. I went and did that today. But she did the chunk of yard that I share with her. Like, she has a tiny, tiny front yard, and mine's like 3 times the size of hers. And she did mine too. I felt bad. I'm just like, ooh. I got showed up by the older lady. She's retired. She's not like old, but she's retired, that's for sure. Anything the traders are useful for? Yeah, that's about the only thing. That's why when like console people are like, I want traders, and I'm like, for what? Like, there's literally very little value in the trader. Their items are so expensive that by the time you have enough to really afford them, you've found most of those items anyways. You know what I mean? Like, just the time you spend going back and forth to the trader, unless you like build right beside them, the amount of time you spend like traversing is just a complete waste of time. I hope they rebalance them in Alpha 16. That'll be nice. That's why you don't really see people visit traders too often. Even in, like, Let's Plays. The peaks of having a small lawn. Yep. My backyard's pretty sizable. It's really grown in, though. Like, it went crazy. I have to go and, like, dig up a lot. There's an older garden there. So there's a whole bunch of, like, older rotting wood in the ground. I have to go and pull all of that out and level it off a bit and reseed it. Because if I ever do put anything back there so that I have some fresh food to eat myself from my own place, I'm actually going to do a raised garden so I don't have to worry about dogs and stuff. Because having 2 dogs, you know what they like to do to gardens? They like to go and sniff and find out what's in it and trample it and pee in it. Dogs. They respect vegetables as much as people who enjoy a lot of meat respect vegetables. Not very much. Yeah, traders are pretty useless. Yeah, that's pretty funny. So guys, like, you can see the better lighting now. You can actually see my face. Like, the background actually looks darker now because my face is lit up. But at least you can see my face. I like it. It was worth the investment. I'm gonna see how long these batteries last, though. I hope I don't have to buy another couple pairs of batteries, but if I do, I do. I know they won't last for the 24-hour stream. Where's the coffee? It's right here. I'm actually holding my hand, man. Every time I drink it, I'm like, this is cold and gross. I'm not gonna drink it anymore, and then I drink it again. Delicious. Hey, Twisted, what's up, man? How you doing, buddy? I love that the icons too show up in the chat stream in the corner, because my bot has a middle finger as its icon. Isn't that fantastic? Isn't that fantastic? I think that's great. It's a classy bot. People have 4 dogs. You know what, dude? If I had a big enough place and enough money, I think I wouldn't mind doing 4 dogs. Because honestly, once you get to that point, you have a pack of animals, and as long as you remain the pack leader, it's actually really easy to do, man. They're a little different than cats in that manner. Now that I have 2 dogs, they've packed together. They're doing really well. Lex and oh guys, I was wrong too. Remember that Chihuahua I got, and I was calling him Brutus. I got a little bit more snippet on his history. Apparently, he ran away, and when they called the owners didn't want them back, so he would have been put down. And that's when someone posted, right? You know, is there anyone who wants to foster him or blah blah blah? And I was, you know, I seen it, right? Being an older dog, I was like, okay. But yeah, apparently he ran away, and then the owners were just like, screw him. So yeah, he's doing well now. Today he was actually play fighting with me. Or with my hand. He's incredibly tiny. But yeah, his personality's starting to come out, so that's good. But his name is Bruiser. It's not Brutus. It's actually Bruiser. Like, yeah, someone named their Chihuahua Bruiser. I don't know. I got nicknames for my dogs anyways. Like, I call Lex Gramps or Lumpy. Poor Lex, he's full of lumps, but he doesn't have, he's not cancerous. He's got a lot of old man lumps, so I call him Lumpy. And then when this guy came, he was Stinky, so I call him Stinky. So their nicknames are pretty much Lumpy and Stinky. That is that is both their situations here. He smells a lot better now after we had that after he had that shower, that terrifying bath. Okay, here we go. That is how we got our youngest dog. Owners didn't want her back after wandering the streets. Yeah, it's pretty much his case too, except he's 16 years old. He was found freezing. Like, it had frosted that night as well too, so he was out there in like sub-freezing temperatures, poor guy. And he was like, well, when the first day I had him, he was terrified. Like, you can, like, you could approach him from the front, but that was about it. He would go off the wall. Okay, so we gotta go and get some more mint mix. Some more mint mix now. There we go. That's what I was aiming for. Oh, that's from Legally Blonde. Oh, see, that is the downfall of designer dogs. Is people want them, they want them when they want them for the style, and then when they get older and they require attention and they take some cleaning up after, they don't want them anymore. He's neglected too. Like, he has an appetite. I can tell you that. He has an appetite and a half. But, he's skinny. So I've been slowly, ramping his food up for him. As long as he is like, he stays fine in the back end, I'll keep feeding him, fattening him up a bit. But yeah, he's doing well. I never thought I'd get along with a Chihuahua, but he doesn't make noise. Like, when I play with him, he does. But other than that, like, Lex will be barking his head off at the door, like at people outside when I leave the door open, and he'll sit right beside Lex and just look. He's a watcher. That's what he does. He watches. Okay, he's gonna grab some mint. You didn't do enough watermelon exercises? I did not do enough watermelon exercises. If I had more watermelon, then I'd be able to say watermelon more clearly. I have a rescue dog. Both of my dogs are rescue dogs. Older dogs are awesome. I love older dogs. They've always had a place for me. Love them. They might have their issues, but honestly, breaking an older dog of issues is actually really easy. It's incredibly easy. Like, Lex had food aggression like crazy. Shit, we need some water. Lex had some really bad food aggression. Like, you couldn't even be in the same room. He would chase you out. Took me 2 weeks, and I could put my head in his food dish. He wouldn't even care. So it's just about training them. A little bit of patience. Frame. This little guy, his challenge is being housebroken. He's not housebroken. Either that, or he's confused, or he has a bad bladder. I'm thinking he has a bladder infection, so I've been giving him some stuff for his bladder infection. Hopefully that'll clear him up a bit. Let's get some shower glass going on. He's been drinking a lot of water, so that's helping too. So it's been like 3 or 4 times a day. I've had to clean up after him, but I'll housebreak him. My dog was beaten and locked in a car through winter. Yeah, that's unfortunate, dude. That's never right. Okay, so what do we need in here? We're gonna need clay and glass. So what I'm gonna do is toss another stack of clay in there. Start filling up the clay again, because we're getting low on clay and we still need glass. We're still lagging on glass. Xylex Zek, welcome to the channel, dude. Thank you for the sub. We still have tons of lead, so we're doing really well. I think we might have enough lead in that one shot to do that one whole side. I think we were pretty successful in that. But I am going to grab some more wood. There we go. Let's blow this popsicle stand. Oops, why do I have... I don't need coal. There we go. Let's head back and do some more damage here, guys. Oh, shit. I should grab some yucca. Is it Lax or Lex? His name, he came with Lex. But it's L-E-X, but... I don't know. It's not what I would have called the dog. I would have called him Lumpy. Just right off the bat, just call him Lumpy. Where are they? Oh, you know what? Are they still in here, or did I use them all up? Oh, no, they're still in here. Erky derky. There we go. Now we have both. We can stay cool. Das, welcome to the stream, dude. Rescues are the best. We found our 2 cats aside as feral kittens. Where I used to work was a lumber yard, and we had like big sheds, and we used to get feral kittens all the time. Like feral cats go in there and have their kittens, and what they would do in the summer is keep it clear of cats. But after a while, they'd start getting a little overpopulated. So the farmers that worked at the lumber yard would actually take them out to their barns and or fix them, then bring them out to their barns and use them as barn cats. So they would keep all the vermin out of the barns. But I remember having to catch those suckers. Ooh, did they ever go crazy? They ever go crazy? We had to like wear like gear and stuff and everything. I felt bad for them because, you know, they're scared as shit. But once they get out there, they got a good place to be. Look at that, guys. We're actually getting really close to the top. Isn't that awesome? That's freaking awesome. Wow. I can see the end here, guys. And I'm hungry too, of course. Let's do some drink. Hey, is my HUD not up? Is my mod not installed? Where'd my mods go? Where's my HUD? I just realized I don't have my mod or my HUD installed. When did I update the game? I didn't change anything there. Huh, that is weird. I don't know why that happened, but I'm gonna have to go and restore. I have backups and everything, of course. I'm gonna have to go and restore my mods. All my mods are gone, like all my modded in crap. Huh. It's a good thing I don't like. This is what I like about it too. Like, it's not extremely modded. It just has all the creative recipes. Like for my mod to make these blue things, all you gotta do is have 10 concrete mix and a blueberry to dye it, and then you make it in the workbench, and then you can make the blue parts. For the red ones, you need mums, and then you need the remaining metal pieces to make it in the workbench. So all I basically did was added in like 600 recipes, but it's not in, and that bothers me. I guess all we're doing is building, so it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna have to make a mental. You know what? I'm actually gonna write that down because my memory is like squirrel. So Have you guys even seen any zombies? I just realized that as well too. Hope modding didn't fuck up my game again. Restore mod files. Sorry for not donating. Oh, dude, don't ever say that to me, man. No, don't ever feel bad about something like that, dude. It's never a necessity. Okay, so we need to go. Oh yeah, where are we going? We gotta go over here and nerd pole up and continue building some frameage. Gotta get some more frames going on. Okay. Dukes. Checking up Dukes. Yeah, never feel bad about that, dude. Alright. Anyways, took care of that. And that's what happens when you act a fool. Let's go up here. I'm actually surprised Hayes isn't with us. Maybe Hayes is sleeping. Guys, if anyone ever does that, just ignore them. Like I said, I'm not here to babysit, so they get the axe. Okay, where are we going? Go up here. Just looking for that reaction. Holy shit, you spend a lot of time in this game. Yes, I have put thousands of hours into 7 Days to Die ever since Alpha 13, dude. Thousands of hours. Well, I've played it on console as well too. I've put in a lot of hours on console as well. So I'm pretty well versed in like both versions. Not much has changed on console lately, so it's not much to keep up on, but they get trickle updates. They get like small things here and there, where ours has been like 8 months. Hey, what's up, JC? Lakia. Well, thank you, I guess. What are you doing, dog? This small dog likes to grab my toes. He's a toe grabber. Weirds me out. Because I'm used to having a 130-pound, slow-moving, loving everything dog around. And then I get this, like, 1.5-pound chihuahua. So weird. The size difference is funny. You should see walking them together. Oh, it's friggin' hilarious. I have a sign up outside that says, beware of dog. So people, stay on my yard. I don't live in a bad area. I just live in an area that has a lot of foot traffic. So I put the sign up, and delivery guy comes to my door, right? And I go outside, close the door. It's a glass door. The small dog runs up and sits down and starts looking at him, right? And he laughs. He goes, "Oh yeah, you have a sign for that dog?" Lex comes out of nowhere and like slips and like runs straight into the door and like pops it open and like spills outside of the door. And I'm like, "Nope, that one." He's so funny. He's like clumsy as shit in his old age too. Ugh, he breaks so much stuff. He's trying to tickle your feet. Basically, yeah, basically exactly what he's doing right now. He's tickling my feet. He's keeping the blood flow going through them. I'm back, Skippy. Had to do some work. Oh, well, welcome back, Joseph. Good to see you again, man. Okay, come out this way. Look how much. Oh, wait. Did I prematurely go up a level? I did. But you know what? That's okay. Let's jump down. Okay, I didn't break my shit. And finish this one off. And then we already got a chunk of that one done. That's awesome. Derp. It happens as you get older, running into stuff. Hey, Sir, how you doing, man? It's Sphere E, right? With 2 eyes at the end. But yeah, he's great. Oh, it was so like just the timing of it couldn't be any better. Like it was almost like comedy show style. Almost like we had planned it out. I was like, yeah, that's a trick he does. He has comedic timing. But yeah, no, he loves people. He just wanted to go and see the guy, right? He was really excited about it. But I had the one carpet actually picked up by the door that he's used to having there. because the little one took a piss on it. So I took it outside and cleaned it out, and it was hanging outside and drying. So I don't think he wasn't expecting it not to be there. Yeah, skated right through the door like a football playing dog. Oh, we're so close to the top. Sphere E. Oh, okay. Okay, I get it. That makes sense. That's what I thought it was. I just thought I might clarify that one. Bam. Intend to play 7 days a day starvation mod someday? Maybe, dude. Maybe. Starvation's a cool concept, but for me, it needs a lot more refinement before that much is added. Like, it's not a bad mod. I'm not bad mouthing at all, but Starvation is like Ark to me. Basically, it's like Ark mod for 7 days to die. I don't enjoy it because there's too much content that doesn't work right. You know what I mean? I would just rather stuff work right than have to deal with it. That's what I could say about at least 7 days to die, the vanilla version of the game. It works pretty damn well. Like, for voxelized games, this game actually runs pretty well and doesn't have that many bugs. The Minibike bug is pretty horrible. Yes, it's annoying when it disappears. But it's not that bad. It doesn't happen quite constantly.
Get this guy. Funny guy, huh?
I'm not bad-mouthing it, but... No, there's a difference between bad-mouthing stuff and being honest about it, man. That was weird. Why did that fall? Maybe I placed it up too high? But like I said, on Ark, there's nothing more frustrating than like legitimately spending 9 hours training a dinosaur, bringing it home, having it glitch out in your shit, and then suffocate and die. Like I can't even begin to tell you how much that made me. I don't like being angry at games. I don't play video games to get pissed off. I play video games because I like to have fun. Being pissed off is for real life. Welcome to the channel, Makoba. You, yeah, look at that. That's funny. He got muted, dude. And then he followed. A hot air balloon. Yeah, well, yeah, could you imagine pulling off a hot air balloon in 7 days to die? It is possible. You can turn off the physics. You can turn off the physics. What are the dukes for? Actually, we're going to be doing a giveaway tonight, guys. I totally forgot to tell you guys that as well here, too. I have a Seasons Pass, and this is for PC, Steam only, guys. I'm sorry. It was sent to me. But I have a Seasons Pass for the Walking Dead series, all the way up to number 5, the finale. So when number 5 comes out, you'll have access to that right away as well. You'll have the pre-download for it. So all 4 episodes, plus the 5th one when it comes out on the 30th. We're actually going to be doing a giveaway tonight. And what the dukes are for stuff like that. So the more you're active in chat, the more dukes you earn. And then when we do the giveaway, you'll see it in the chat. It'll tell you what to do. You can enter the giveaway with your dukes. So we'll be giving that away tonight because I definitely won't be using it, and we may as well have a fun giveaway with that shit. May as well. Hey there, Jan. What's up? Good to see you, man. Is Ark made by Telltale? No, Ark is made by Wildcard. Ark was a good game. It's a very good game. It was headed in a great direction. But when Ark first started, they hired somebody that had signed a non-compete with another company that had very similar assets and a very similar concept. And then Ark ended up turning around and getting sued later on by that company for pretty much what I believe is everything they had. So in order to fix that, what they had to do on an alpha game was release paid DLC to kind of subside that a bit, and then they decided to move on to console as well too at that point to try to buff themselves back up. So Ark is in kind of like a rock and a hard place where I think a lot of the PC people feel a little distrustful of them. Like if you go look at the Steam reviews of it, there's a lot of it in there. And for me, it's just those bugs like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like a mini bike sucks when you lose it, but it's not like you just spent 9 hours putting that mini bike together. And it's like the best mini bike in the game and you're completely pumped about it, right? Like that to me was just, that was enough. I tried doing another Let's Play series on it too, but I don't know. I just couldn't hack it. If they fix a game where it actually runs solid, it runs nice, and it like you can get a pretty decent frame rate in it without having to buy like a beast of a machine, then I might take a look at it again. But the building needs to be overhauled big time. Like, I like that you named it after the in-game cache. Oh, the Dukes. Yeah, I was gonna name like zombie coins or something like that, but then I was like, screw that. It's 7 Days to Die. This is 7 Days to Die channel. We're gonna be calling our currency Dukes. But yeah, guys, the way the YouTube bot works is unfortunately we don't have the API Twitch does. Maybe someday. But because of privacy stuff, like when you create an account, everything's private, right? So the bots, like when you see the follows, unless you have your subscription set to public, we don't know if you subscribe to the channel. The same goes with the chat, unless you're actively talking in chat, like within every 3 minutes, I think it was, every 3 minutes. Then the bot doesn't know that you're actively sitting there, right? And it kind of sucks for the lurkers. I feel bad for those guys, but at least it's something. You know what I mean? Alright, see you later, Radiated. Thanks for stopping in, dude. It was good having you here. There's a spider on my ceiling. I think I'm gonna die. You should get a sledgehammer and kill it. Kill it with fire? Yeah, that works too. You should actually, no, you should use a sledgehammer to kill it and then light its body on fire afterwards. Just to make sure it's dead. Always double tap. Dark Rider, how you doing? Yeah, and Dukes aren't hard to earn. It's one every 3 minutes, I believe. Something like that. Ooh, I should actually look that up. They just did a few updates, and I've been able to catch up with the bot. Oh, there's so much behind the scenes that you have to learn and do, but once you... Wow, that was like a hiccup that went back down. Once you get well versed in it, though, it's actually pretty easy to do. Like, launching a server this time around is going to take me a lot less time than it did Alpha 15. Alpha 15 server launch was insane. I had no idea what I was doing at all. But now, it's a cinch. I got a good team as well, too, so I have some good resources to lean on. So... I think the server is going to be a lot bigger and a lot more interesting this time around. And plus, even still, I wasn't even known in the 7 Days to Die PC community really well when I launched my Alpha 15 server. So it's going to be an experience and a half this time. I'm going to be doing a lot of streaming when Alpha 16 comes out. I probably won't be doing...
Funny guy, yeah.
Lamari Perez, welcome to the stream. I probably won't be doing Let's Plays right off the bat for Alpha 16. What I'm going to concentrate on is one-off videos like tutorials, base tours of people that build talented stuff on the server, stuff like that. And then like later on, once mods and stuff come out, I might lay down a Let's Play or two. But I plan on streaming a lot as well too, incorporating streaming in. That's why I've spent a good amount of money actually getting this done. I'm actually kind of thinking of trying to do some... Maybe doing some green screen. I think I got the room behind me. I'd have to rearrange it a little bit again, but I think I might have the room behind me for a green screen. That would be cool. Another light and a green screen, and I don't take up like this whole square up in the corner. I can just tuck this this mug down in the corner or something. Sound like this little floating head. Yes, go follow Forestyle on it and just lay down a nuke. That'll get her dead. That'll get her done. That's a nightmare. No spider can handle that much radiation. Hey, have you not played True Survival, dude? The radiated spiders? Oh, getting back into True Survival today was a little weird, to be honest. When I was making the Let's Play, I was a little weirded out. Sweet Biffin, welcome to the channel, dude. Thank you for the follow. Or the sub. See, I'm used to streaming still on Twitch back in the day, so I say follows. Subs on YouTube are a different thing, but your subscription, you get a subscription on YouTube. You know what I mean. Eventually getting to the right word. I wish I lived in Canada. The guys are way cuter. I know, right? Should I get an arc or 7 days? That's up to you, Mr. Boss. If you're like super into the survival style gameplay, then I say go right ahead and toss up arc. But if you're into more of like the long-term base building style, not necessarily as stupid as this, but if you're like building and stuff, then I definitely recommend 7 Days to Die over top of that one. But arc is a lot more of a challenge. Especially PvP. Like, PvP is insane. PvP in 7 Days to Die is kind of just garbage. There we go. I was 8 seconds behind your live stream and I fixed it. Yeah, that happens sometimes. Sometimes I'll actually see people in the stream talking and they're like a full few minutes behind. They're reacting to stuff that happened before. It's kind of funny when that happens. I missed the first time. Now there's a shoe print on the ceiling. Holy cap. Holy cack. Holy cack, cupcake. Holy cack, cupcake. Did you like friggin' Chuck Norris that shit or what? Like, how'd you get your foot up there? 7 Days to Die is on sale on Humble Bundle for 60% off. Oh, really, Suri? That's sick, actually. I did not know that. How long is that for? I might actually advertise that because I know a lot of people always ask when it goes on sale. Brayson, welcome to the channel, dude. Thanks for the follow. And you know what, guys? Like, if it wasn't for you guys commenting and stuff, like, I learned a lot about this game as well, too, becoming a content creator. You guys are my eyes and ears because, honestly, I have very little time to actually watch YouTube and watch tutorials and actually, like, you know, read and do stuff like that. So there's a lot of people in, like, my core community that are actually my eyes and ears a lot of the time. And I'm like, guys, do you know how to do this? And someone will know how to do it, which is great. It's a great resource. And you guys are free to use it as well, too. You guys can actually join my Discord. We're going to take a little bit of a cold coffee break here. But anyways, you guys are more than welcome to join my Discord. You can do !Discord down in the, this camera's so backwards. Over in that chat right there. And holy cack, Batman. But yeah, if you do !Discord, it'll drop the link in the description for you, so you can just press it and you don't really have to leave the stream. You can just come back to it. Or you can go down the description, it's in there, or www.skippy3.com for the server information and crap. And why does, like, is it me migrating or is it like my face migrating? Because I feel too far away now. My face keeps migrating over to the words. I don't know how that happens. I might have to rearrange the screen. I watch so I can learn how to play. That's true. And it's a good idea. Yes, Gander, look, you can actually see my face today. The background's nice and dark, and the foreground's nice and light. That's how I like it. Like, it's perfect. Now, I don't have any lights on in my house, and my curtains are all drawn. That's why it's, like, that dark. But, yeah. Them eyeballs. Yes, they're a little hazy today, I may admit. It's raining all day, and I really wanted to go outside and get my yard work done. I really think you should cornrow your hair. Oh my god, could you imagine? My hair is getting ridiculous, so I'm gonna go get a cut very soon. Like, it's just... It's too much. It's getting hot now. It has to go. So the hair is gonna go... I'm gonna come on stream, you guys are gonna be like, what the fuck are you? Right? But it needs to go. And then I'll just let it grow again. Are you just doing the boundary of the mega base so that when others join, they have a place to go and build their own space? Oh, well, this is on my single player. I actually had this going as a let's play, but it slowed down so much because of the grinding I had to do that I actually put the let's play down and I was just doing it on the side. Now I'm streaming it to get caught back up. But here we go. I have had enough coffee. Let's get building working on. How's the Switch working out? It is beautiful, dude. As you can see, the transitions are perfect. I don't have to switch screens. Oh, it's so much of a time saver. It's perfect. I have a break screen. I have an end screen. I have all that lovely stuff now. Just like the big guys. It was well worth the investment in my opinion. Skippy imposter. I know, right? I know. Them curls. Yeah, I always used to, like, if my hair ever got long, I always used to brush it. But this time I haven't been brushing or combing it or anything at all. Like, I just pretty much just get out of the shower and let it drip dry all the time. So apparently that made it incredibly curly. My hair never used to be like this. This is a new thing. What are the headphones I use? I use the the Astro A40s, A40 PR or something like that. I don't know. It's the one that comes with the surround sound thing and the headset. It's actually a pretty nice set. It's really touted for console, but as a PC headset, it's actually pretty nice. And it really extends the distance my headset can be away from my computer, because my computer tower is back there. So to keep the noise away from my mic. Okay, let's keep going. Look how close we're getting. This is amazing. Skippy going bald. Yeah, I'm going pretty bald, to be honest. That's why I'm letting my hair go, because I just don't care anymore. This build is tall. It's a very tall build. It's actually cut into an old mountain. All that sandstone over there, see all down there, that's all collapsed. There used to be a mountain sitting here, and I cut into the side of the mountain. And that's where I got all my material to build all this from the collapses. JC, that's funny. JC's like the channel calculator. Oh, this is gonna feel so satisfying. The top level, guys. You guys have no idea how satisfying that's gonna feel. And then we get to put in the glass, which is cool as well too. That's gonna be a little bit of work, but it's not that bad at all. Oh shit! When's the next horde day? Can someone do some quick math for me? What am I building? My Because I Can base. Hey, Nine Hearts, how you doing? How long have I been playing? Well, I was checking out 7 Days to Die. Like, I poked my nose and stuff around it about Alpha 8. Decided I wasn't really interested in it yet. And then Alpha 13, I picked it back up. And ever since then, I've logged thousands of hours in it. I do believe altogether, I should have at least 2,500, 3,000 hours, along with my console. Unfortunately, I can't time my console play. So I have to estimate it, but I do have a really long Let's Play on console as well too, along with a very long-standing multiplayer map on console. So there's a whole bunch of hours in that one too. Okay. Yeah, bald ain't bad. I used to have to be bald. I don't know if I can go hairless, because I have a large, odd-shaped head. But if I could, I would. Why not? Fuck hair. You know what hair can do, guys? You know what hair can do? Hair can go with big ol' hearts. It can go fuck itself.
Get this guy.
Love those
Funny guy,
hearts? That's right. Those hearts are for hair. Welcome to the channel, Tino. Thanks for the sub, man. I miss the breeze on my scalp. Me too. Like, it's hot and sweaty now. I don't know how you ladies do this in the summer, but big respect to you if you have, like, big old bushy hair like I do. It's hot. It is so friggin' hot. I just cut it. I'm like, screw it. It's going. I give a small dog a home to nest in, pretty much, by cutting it. I'm overheating. Yeah, like, that's why I don't mind the long hair, because it doesn't look as big, because then you're just like, oh, well, he just has a lot of hair, right? It's a trick. That's what it is. Actually, my head's not that big, but it is big. It's good size. I do fall over constantly, because I'm a little heavier top end. It's a good thing I'm like a tripod, though. I would shave my head any day. It does get really hot. Yeah, I can believe it. I can believe it. Like that. Like yesterday, when it was like 30 degrees out, I literally wanted to tear the hair out of my head. I'm like, this has got to go. I almost wanted to hack it myself and just like go in the morning and get a haircut. But knowing me, I would get stuck not being able to find somebody to cut my hair in the morning and then be stuck with that for a while. Just get up in the middle of the night and just rage cut my hair. It's gonna happen if I have to go through another human night like that. Ugh. It's going well, Jerry. Thank you very much. Some Cinderella stuff there right now. That's awesome. Think of coloring my buzz cut pink. Do that and go orange on the other side. Because those colors are awesome together. I want to color my hair, but I most likely have to bleach it first. Oh, you girls. I let a girl do shit with my hair once. Never again. Never again. It took so long to get that out. Oh, it's washable. I guess. Well, she was new to the scene. She was like just starting up school for hairstyling, and she misread the instructions. It was washable after X amount of washes. Like the wording of it was really really funny. Instead of saying it lasts this many washes, it said it's washable after. And yeah, I literally had to like have a month of like fucking like red hair because it was just fucking clashing. It was brutal. It was so brutal. I'm not a red hair type of person. If I grow out my hair, I get a natural mullet. I do have a little bit of a mullet in the back, but it's grown so long now that it just kind of grew out. But I could actually get my hair cut into a sick mullet. Would you guys enjoy a mullet for a stream? We'll go back to the 80s. I'll go find myself a leather jacket and complain about how hot it is, but still wear the leather jacket and have my mullet. And we can listen to AC/DC. It'll be fun. I know your pain. I can imagine. Long hair is a dedication. The only reason I have long hair, like I've said many times, is just because I just don't care. Right? Like, it's comfortable. I will say that. Like, especially in the winter. Having long hair in the winter is extremely comfortable. I do enjoy it. I volunteer as a tribute. Do it. Noticed you stream a lot. Is True Survival video coming out anytime soon? Nine Hearts. I have been streaming on a lot this last little while because I wanted to take a little bit of a break from what I was doing, the grind. So while I was taking a break, what I was doing was just streaming every day, right? Just staying in communication with you guys and stuff. But I did actually, just before I started streaming here today, just finished making a True Survival episode. It was a little awkward. It felt a little weird playing True Survival again for some reason. But I'm going to give her some like playtime aside from recording here tonight as well. And get used to it again. And then, so there's going to be a True Survival on Saturday. And a Val mod on Sunday. So I'm gonna make the Val mod episode tomorrow, I think, and then stream later in the day again. Aim for the evening, or either that, or I'm gonna end up getting up early and be done by 12 and stream at 12. Who knows? My streams aren't really scheduled either. But expect to see episodes this weekend. I'll put a couple episodes out. Why not? There used to be a couple guys who would get trims on their mullets in the salon. Oh, you gotta get the mullet trimmed. You can't. See, it may look like it's easy to have a mullet, but a mullet's a lot of work. It is. It's like a well-trimmed beard. You have to have a well-trimmed mullet, or you're just disrespecting it. You're rocking mullet. You know what? I wouldn't even care either. Like where I live, I would just fit right in. Doesn't matter. It'd just be like rock on, man. AC/DC. That's all I'd hear out of the old rusty sports cars driving by. Max Smith, welcome to the channel, dude. Thank you for the follow. The Skippy mullet. Oh, I'd rock it with pride, though. I seriously would. It's a beautiful thing. Not everyone can do a mullet. Shit, we gotta eats. Gotta get some eats going on. Do we have enough time to finish this row? Holy crap. I'm just talking away, guys, getting this done and not even paying attention. This is a way to get this done, though. Honestly, like, doing this by myself sucks balls. It's so boring and repetitive. What I usually do is I'll have, like, Netflix going on the monitor right there, or I'll be listening to music, or just like watch, like what I've been doing lately is watching tutorials on video editing and photo editing, and just trying to like up my skills because it's quiet right now. Everyone's waiting for Alpha 16 to come out. There's not very many views, so I'm just like taking the quiet time too to improve myself, better myself, I guess. But even just talking to you guys makes us go by so much faster. You can picture the whole thing. Good evening. How you doing, Peter Ashtark? Welcome to the channel, man. I get the alfalfa hair where one hair always sticks up. Well, you know what I get, guys? When like my hair is short, I have this stupid... It's all tucked in. Okay, I'll take that off for a second. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm going to pull it back. There's so much friggin' hair here. But see this here? There's a peak here. So I get this stupid little peak. It's going to suck when I freaking get old too. Because I think I'm going to be one of those old guys with like the hair that recedes back like this. But they have like a V shape in the front. I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I'm going to have like the worst bald head ever. With a comb in his pocket. Nice. Nice. Yeah, but this hair is actually like legitimately starting to piss me off. You'd be Skippy stylist, could you imagine? Actually, last time I let my hair get this long, by the time I went and actually got the fucking shit cut, it was long enough that I could donate it. So I donated it to people going through chemo, so that they could have hair as well. Yeah, it was actually like just long enough. It was perfect. Remember doing that back in the day? Back when my channel was all tiny and stuff. It was amazing. And bam. Okay, so I'm going to go and get some food here, and then we'll come back, and hopefully I have enough supplies to finish this. If I have to... Wait, I didn't go back to the main scene. Okay, let's get this done here. I still have it full scene. But yeah. Stuff and things. Mission. Get this done. Bam. Cowlick in the front and back supposed to mean you're smart. Yeah, I have one back here as well too. That's why I don't mind the long hair as well either, because when you have long hair, it just holds it down anyways. But these little things can be frustrating in the front sometimes. It's like it makes me more aerodynamic. Comb overs are the new smart hair. Oh, could you imagine the comb over I could pull off? I could pull off a good comb over, I think. I could rock a comb over with style. Doggy in the background. Oh, do you see him? Did he walk by? Yeah, the little one's really active. He walks around a lot. It's good to see. I had my sister over today and my little niece, because I haven't had anyone over since I got them, right? Or I got him, because I wanted him to settle here. I didn't want him to get upset anymore, you know, just give him some time. I had them over today. He went running up to them, tail wagging, kissing and stuff, so... Yeah, he's really come a long, long way. And, like I said, when we're alone and, like, he's not stressed out, he'll let me pick him up now. When I first got him, if he even tried to make the motion of, like, going towards the sides or something, he'd go nuts. So I'm thinking he was kicked a lot. Like, he has a tendency of running through my feet and stuff all the time, but it really doesn't bother me at all. Because he never actually gets in the way, he's always there. I think he got kicked a lot for doing that. I'm used to Lex, like, I'm used to a 130-pound dog being in my way all the time, so he's just, like, I forget about him. Wow, look at we're getting really low on concrete mix as well here, too. So we gotta go grab some foods, we're up to 1%, and we'll grab ourselves some more supplies. Yeah, well, I look at, like, the size difference is funny. It's like I got my dog, a pet dog. That's basically what it looks like. My dog has a pet dog. It's his pet dog. He loves him. They're getting along well. Okay. Oh, yeah, look at that. I'm like, ooh, I don't know if we're going to have enough concrete mix, guys. Let's see what we have for to make some concrete. 455 cement. I think I took all the cement that we actually had made out already. Let's go see if I've left any behind in the forges. They should have stone forged into them. Yeah, but there's no... Oh, here's some more cement. Okay, I missed one. We got lucky. But I think I might have only missed one. Yep. So what I'm gonna have to do here soon as well too. Oh, this one has metal in it. Nice. What I'm gonna have to do here soon is we'll come in here. I'll grab a whole shitload of stone. We'll fire up all of these forges. We'll turn whatever stone is in it into cement. Let the other stone fire into the forge. And instead of sticking around here and literally fighting endless zombie hordes of just endlessness, we'll go and we'll go to our grass farm, which is right here. Nope. Nope, that's the coal mine. Our grass farm's right here. Ah, here it is. Our dirt quarry. This is where I go and dig up all the dirt that is actually on top of here. So we need to also, when I get this done here, this little section, this is where we were working right here on the frame. Once I get that done, I have to lay down some more grassy ground on top of here. So we still do need to do a little bit more surface mining, but it's also good too because I'll miss the heat map that'll happen here because it'll get insane. It'll get insane crazy with that many forges going. I'll get a food, just don't see the percentage. Yep. Yep, yep. I'm not dying yet. I'm not dying yet. We'll get there. Ooh, I'm gonna have to start stocking up on some more food here soon too. Do I have any stashed in my whatever container? I have a little bit. Do I have any poo? Where did my poo stew go? Did I eat all my poo stew already? Oh, that's a shame. That sucks. Hey, what's up, Armin? Welcome to the channel, dude. Sick animals are the worst. There's nothing you can do for them. Keep them comfortable. She could do the hair and I'll do the makeup. Are you talking about me? This face don't need no makeup. This is all natural. I know those, some like the top streamers and stuff, they 100% wear makeup when they go on stream and stuff. Which is whatever. Actors do, news anchors do, you know what I mean? It's a thing. I would feel weird doing my own makeup. First of all, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with makeup. I'd come out looking like fucking Mimi. But learning it would feel funny, I think. I think that's what it would be. Learning it would feel... Just doing it would feel funny. I'd have to have like a really, really hot lady do it, I think. I think that's exactly what would have to happen. Oh, I lost my poo stew at the lead mine depth. Good thing you have a better memory than me, JC. Like a way better memory. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to go ahead and get some of this actually on the way. We only have 2,500, so we need 5 stacks of stone and 2.5 stacks of sand. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 3 stacks of sand. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's get this concrete mix on the way.
Guy, yeah.
Perfect. And welcome to the channel, okay, dog. Thanks for the follow, man. You too, Max Smith, if I missed yours, man. Okay, so these I'm gonna just toss out because they're like leftovers, whatever. I have so many supplies, it's not even funny. So what I'm gonna do is actually dump all this stuff off, and we're gonna go down, get on my mini bike, and head towards, and start doing some digging. And we're gonna get the forges going as well too before I do that. So let's get this emptied out so we can be more efficient with the forges. And bring a couple of those because I break my shit all the time. We don't need yucca because it's not hot there. Weapons we do need. Bows we don't need because I have my sniper. Sledgehammer because I love the sledgehammer. Food, no. Oh, it's so weird not seeing my stuff up here because my mod files aren't in for some reason. So that kind of sucks. We need repair kits because we're going to be using the auger. And we need gas as well here too. So auger is there and we need some more gas. Oh shit, where's all my gas at? Oh, that's right, I lost a shitload of gas way back there. And I didn't make any more yet. Okay, let's make some more gasoline. So we're gonna make some more shale and then get the forges going, then come back and just grab up the gasoline. Okay. Here we are. How long that's gonna burn? For 5 minutes? Actually, that's almost perfect. There we go. That should actually 8,300 should be enough to last us over there, I hope. I hope. Now I'm gonna get loaded up on stone. Oh shit, I left a bunch of stuff. Squirrel! My texts are about 10 seconds off. That's funny. Yeah, your delay in the stream chat's gonna be different depending on where you are and what you're watching on and, you know, all that lovely crap. Painkillers, those can guess what, guys with big old hearts go fuck themselves. We don't need those. Those painkillers can stay. Beer, yep. Definitely need that because we're going to have screamers. So we're going to be fighting some of those bastards off. And let's go get those forges going. Mimi. Yeah, I would literally look like Mimi. It would be doing my own makeup would be bad. It would be bad. I can't even believe I'm saying those words in the sentence. It's just weird. Okay, so there we go. We're going to split these up a little ahead of time so they're a little easier to slide into the forges. Ugh. See, this thing's derpy. When you have something like this set up, you have to like kind of jump a bit to get it in. It's really derpy that way. I wonder how that got damaged up there. It's a little odd. We had a couple of zombies get in somehow last Horde night, and we still have not figured that mystery out. It's a little weird, in my opinion. Okay, so things are going to get hairy around here pretty soon. Oh, you know where I left? Oh, I'm a big dummy. I left all my gas. You know where I left it? I left it in the gas pump where my mini bike is parked. Or was parked. That's where it is. Dummy Skippy. You put it where it's supposed to be. It's kind of like when you can't find your keys, but they're on the key hanger that you never use. Kind of that anomaly. Let's get these bad boys going. It's going to get real hot in here real soon. Yo, 1,000. Nice, nice. We're going to need some more coal, though. This is good. This should run us right to the end. I might have to do another coal mine as well, too. Looks like we might be a little low on the coal. How long has this gameplay been going on for today? I have been live now for just an hour and 15 minutes about. You can actually find that out, dude. The bot's plugged in. If you do !uptime, it'll actually tell you how long this stream's been going. I always use my key hanger. I've gotten into the habit now. I'm not a I'm a clean person, but I'm not organized. That's my one downfall. I've always been at this. You guys see it in my gameplay. I get comments on it all the time. But yeah, I've been getting into use my key hanger. Like, I never lose my shit. It's just I sometimes have to go find it. There we go. Let's get this baby fired up too. Cement. Craft. Awesome. Let's grab up some more. Oh yeah, we're getting real low. Making cement mix like this takes a lot of coal. And I prefer to use coal because it burns longer. It's really easy. Like, once you have a coal mine, honestly, like, even if you're worried about making gunpowder, you'll have so much coal it doesn't even matter. Okay, let's get this bad boy fired up here too. Deadpool, welcome to the stream, dude. Thank you for the sub. Perfect. Alright, there we go. I think this one is, you know what? This one has stone? This one has no stone in it, so we're not going to bother firing it up. Is this one going? Nope. It's the smoke from the other one coming up through this one, making me think it's on. Wow, that was trippy. Okay. And we need 2 more stone. We don't need the coal. I haven't lost my keys in probably over 12 years. I have a keychain from about 11 years ago from a friend that died shortly after. She gave it to me as a gift, like a small token, right? It had the first letter of my first name on it. It was just like, you know, a little thing you give a friend, right? But I still have that. Like, the leather is worn off and fallen and broken away, but I still have like the little tag that's still. And I've had that thing forever. I would actually really suck if I lost it. It's just always been there. All right. So we got 2 stone. We got lumps of coal. And that last forge should be good to go. Perfect. There we are. All right. Let's blow this popsicle stand, guys. Go down on my mini bike and get the fuck out of here. We have the auger. We have the repair kits. We have everything I need. And, yeah, that's one hotbox right there, guys. That is the definition of hotbox. What do you do when you run out of ideas to play 7 Days to Die? What do you mean, man? I take a break or I play something else? Okay. Here we go. Is that what you mean? Let's go up. I think my mini bike actually... Oh, yeah, look at it. It's still parked right there. Awesome. Okay, we got to grab the gas out of here. Durr. Tons of gas. We're good to go. Let's go for it. Go for a little bit of a cruise. I need a keychain award. Sounds legit. As long as it's genderless, you're okay to do that. Whoa, that was luck. That was pure luck. I could have went in the drink. I hate going in the drink and you don't have enough room in your inventory to mess around with your bike. That always happens to me. There's nothing close by to put your stuff in. First world problems. First world problems. Gotta avoid those cannon fodder holes. Have you died since your last stream? Nope. No deaths today. I usually don't die. If I do die, it's like from falling or like, you know, getting pushed off something all oddly. You guys have seen me fall and die a few times. That happens. That's actually why my wellness is down. Oh, that one stream. Actually, I take that back. I had that one fail stream where I just gave up and like went kamikaze for it. I almost got it back, but then I fell in the room of zombies. And yeah, it just didn't turn out well. Never jump in a hole of zombies, guys, and ever expect to get out. Okay, I think we have to keep heading north here. Oh no, it's right over here. It's right over here. We're in the right direction. Our quarry is up here. This is where I usually come to spend the night on top of. I'll just stand on top of there and AFK the night. But since I'm streaming, we probably won't do that. Oh, I didn't kill it. Really? Oh, wow. That's actually the first time I didn't insta-kill an animal by running them over. Maybe it's due to speed. Okay, so I'm going to park my bike up here because this... I don't know if you guys played Alpha 15 Early Experimental. Is it fixed? Oh, never mind. This is the edge. Okay, there's chunks of this. There we go. When they first introduced traders into the game, they also introduced this. You know how they have like traders protected so that you can't break it? The original random gens had a problem where they get like little small sections of the land. Square, I think it's 16 by 16. That were protected like the trader was, but they're just random spaces. That's how old this map is. It has like the trader bug in it. That is insane. But that's not in the game anymore. Like if you make a random gen now, it's not a problem. Let me know if this auger's too loud, guys. We'll turn it down. So what I like to do here is I'll do a little bit over here and then I'll run somewhere else. Because what you do is you have something called a heat map, right? And using an auger increases your heat map like crazy. So, but it's only by chunk. So it's only by a 16 by 16 area. So if you leave that chunk and start augering over in a couple chunks beside it, you start generating heat in that one instead. So you get to a certain point where you reach 100% heat and it calls in a screamer. So if you're slow enough and you move around enough, you can actually avoid having a lot of screamers doing this type of thing. Like we're gonna get some, but I gotta keep it under control, right? Because if I get caught in the screamer loop, we're not gonna be getting any work done. When you actually switch full basket when you try to put one in the inventory. Yup. Can only hear it a little bit. Okay, perfect. That's what I want. Because I mean, by now I think a lot of us know what the game sound like. So, oh, it's nice and sunny now. Nice, that's a little bit of a tease. I wish it was like that outside. But you guys are lucky. If it wasn't for the shitty weather, I wouldn't be streaming right now. Schoolwork. I used to hate doing homework. I see the value of it now, but I used to hate it. Okay, so we've done a fair chunk over here. So what I'm going to do is we're going to run over here and start digging up some more dirt over here somewhere. Right here, I guess is... We'll go in between. Then I'll turn this all in the grassy ground when we get back in the workbenches. And then spread it out on the top. Is what on console, man? Bring the sunshine over here, please. I know, right? Oh, I feel someone playing with my feet again. So weird. That's funny. There's going to be ore down there somewhere. And half of it's buried in a unbreakable chunk. There we go. Like, it doesn't take long to do this at all. You get quite a bit of dirt in quite a bit of hurry. Streaming tomorrow? Most likely, dude. Unless something goes bad, something goes wrong, or like let's say I have a bad day, or it's super beautiful out. I might not. I have a feeling the summer is going to be a really wet summer. So I'm going to really try to take advantage of the nice days we have. Like, that is for sure. Yeah, there's clay right there. I don't need clay quite yet. And clay fills up your inventory so fast. Okay, so I'm pretty far from that chunk, so I'm going to go over here now. And do some more augering over here. That's funny. A couple zombie bodies. Those must have been there for a while. Go to the nether? Okay, dude. I can't, man. I'm scared of the Enderman, dude. Simon, actually, thanks for asking, dude. I just recorded a True Survival episode today. I will be actually editing and rendering it after this stream here and uploading it overnight. And that will be out Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then on Sunday, I'm going to do a Val mod as well. And I might do one here or there during the week. I'm going to aim for the weekends on bringing out the Let's Plays up until Alpha 16. And then, I still want to stream a lot. It's fun getting back into streaming and actually, like, reaching my viewers one-to-one. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, we had a microburst last night. It was insane. I'm like sitting here in my house. I'm like just wrapping up for the night, right? I'm just, you know, whatever. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna leave the windows open because it was hot. It was humid. It was hot. I'm like, I can just leave the windows open, right? And I'm sitting there, and then all of a sudden, like the air pressure changes. Like it was insane. Like it actually took my breath away. I was like. I was like, what the hell just happened? Like, all my curtains are, like, blown in. Like, some of them went flying off the walls. Like, what the fuck is going on, right? And then it just started, like, the rain started coming in the house. Like, it just started coming. It was insane. It went from, like, nice and quiet. And there's people walking outside. Like, I can see them out the window. They're just walking their dog, right? Like, that's how nice it was. And then we just got, like, this huge microburst out of nowhere. It's probably the strongest one I've ever witnessed. It was insane. But yeah, it got my bed wet, and my bed was like 5 feet away from the window. That's how sideways the rain was. Like, it was literally getting soaked, like, upstairs in my top floor. It was going in one side and going out the other. Like, it was completely sideways. It was refreshing, though. It went from, like, 30 degrees in here down to, like, 10 in a second. It was, like, I think that's what the shock was the temperature difference. It was just, like, a wall of cold. It was insane. I've got 54,231 subs. Awesome, man. It's Skippy and One Punch Man time. What's that, Armin? I like both streams and LPs. Oh, awesome. What was that? Did you just make a noise? Did you just make a noise? What was that about? I have a feeling this little guy is not a quiet chihuahua. I just have a feeling this little guy is just gotta get comfortable. I think I just heard a noise from him, but my headphones and this auger muffled it. Did he make a noise, guys? You would have been able to hear that a lot better than I could. What time is it for you? It is 4:33. It is 4:33 for me too. I'm also Eastern as well. That was a weird animation. How much do we got? Okay, we almost got a full stack of 5,000 already. Doing pretty well. We'll dick around out here for a while the forges go nuts. Screw damn screamers. Was that iron right there? May as well grab it. Yeah, I'm gonna grab up this iron here. Oh. Pretty sure I hear a screamer as well, off in the distance. He wants his screen time. That's funny. It sounds like a chicken. Actually, guys, I have to repeat this again. I was wrong. I got more of the details of what was going on with him. I guess he got out. He ran away. And when the owners were called, they were like, no, screw him. I don't want him back. And the main side was going to put him down, right? 'Cause, well, he's an old 16-year-old dog. So that's his history. That's exactly what happened. And his name isn't Brutus. It was written down wrong. It's now I'm used to calling him Brutus. But he's not Brutus. Oh my god, now I can't remember my own damn dog's new name. Oh, Bruiser. That's it, Bruiser. His name is Bruiser. Because he's a tough little asshole, him. Oh, there's a screamer right there. There it is. There it is. Oh, she's hitting the invincible wall. Haha. What are you gonna do about it? Not much you can do about it. Except, oh, shit. Damn it. I'm being all cocky. Don't lose your head over it. Fuck. Fuck. This is horrible. Alright. Alright. Hit her in the head. Son of a bitch. Fuck. Fuck. You almost think I'm doing this on fucking purpose right now. I'm gonna rage quit. I'm gonna go all Call of Duty on this shit. Alright, let's get her this time. Ah, I didn't get her in one shot and she screamed. At least I got her in the tit. That kind of made up for it. Alright, where are you guys? Here's one over here. Sayonara. Of course, now I have no problem hitting these guys in the head. It's like, whatever. Screamer? Oh, thanks. Nope, nothing for you. No scope. Son of a bitch. Okay, do we have any... Do we have any more? I think he's playing with Lex. I think that's what's going on right now. He's trying to get Lex to play. Are you playing with Lex, buddy? He's... Oh, Lex isn't feeling well today. He's having a really old man day. Poor guy. He's still doing well, though. Like, especially for his age. Oh, my God. Moonwalking screamer witch. Sniper in the eye. I know. That was some MLG shit, guys, that you seen right there. Like, that's why I don't play Call of Duty, because it would be unfair to everybody else. The invisible wall, right? It was a wind. That's what it was. The wind was picking up every single time I took a shot. And it was dragging that bullet over. Now I'm hearing shit. Oops, don't fall in there. Okay, we need to go over to an area. We were digging over there and that got a screamer. I'm actually surprised. I thought we were out of there fast enough. Oh shit, I hear another one. There is one nearby. Okay, I better be able to hit this bitch in the face. I heard her. Where you at? I don't see her, but I definitely did hear her. Oh, there she is. There she is. She's over there. Okay, there we go. Oh, great. She's walking around in circles. Make it even harder for me to hit her. Where's your... Ah, now she's... Where'd she go? Let's go get her. Let's go blow her head off. This is the fun part about mining dirt. I love taking screamers out. It's so much fun. Okay, seriously? If her head doesn't come off... Okay, that was bad. That was actually bad. If her head doesn't come off... There we go. See? There we go. I was going to be like, it's Illuminati confirmed. That's what that is. Alright, let's do some more digging here. Let's get some more work done. Damn, nature elements. I know, right? Face Skippy. No scope in that shit. Oh, yeah, that's right. Are they still like a thing? I don't know. You know what's great? This thing I noticed on YouTube lately is there is very little drama crap in my suggestion, which is nice. Very little drama crap. Like, I very rarely see it. The algorithm's definitely changed in my favor as far as a viewer. So, like, other stuff I never cared about, like phase stuff that always used to pop up because it was popular and, well, frankly, I just never clicked it. That stuff doesn't show up anymore. So I don't see it. But I see the titles. Yes, I'm diggering. See you later, JC. Thanks for stopping in, dude. Stay classy, man. Oh. Killed that thing. Had no chance. Let's strip some more dirt from this bitch. Come on, we're getting there. 1.5 stacks almost. Why do the lady zombies have some giant jugs? Not all of them do. The strippers are pretty nice looking. For zombies. I don't judge. Need a series of 2 around Cooney's and Cooney. Oh, well, what'll happen with Cooney Hills, once I'm done this, is I'm actually gonna, once I'm done this side, once I got the glass in, and once I got the grass on top, I'm actually putting it up for download so you guys can download it. Because I want you guys to do videos, because I know a lot of you do make videos on YouTube. I want to see you guys, what you guys do to Cooney Hills. I want to see some creative videos out there. So I'm doing like a video challenge, right? Go download it. Do something with it. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what you do, how you do it. I want to see some crazy ass shit. Okay, I'm going to leave this area because I have a feeling we've bumped up the heat map high enough now. And head back towards this one over here. This one should cool down a bit. The cops have some pretty nice jugs. They do. They do, that I'll agree with. So this is like raw Cooney Hills. This is what I had to do between episodes of Let's Plays. Is come over here, spend an hour over here doing this, spend an hour over there doing that. Like literally, like my Let's Plays for the last 20 episodes would have been like, here, check this out. I did this part of the frame. Now look at me do this part of the frame. Again, it's the same thing, but check it out. It was too hard to make content on. But hell, it is what it is, right? Ding. Oh, this was that screamer. Fuck you, bitch. What am I out of? Oh, I'm out of gasoline. Let's make some more gas. Get that going. Awesome. And we got close to, we're getting close to 2 stacks now. We don't need a shit ton. We just need enough to get that one corner done up top. I'm not gonna blow it up. Just gonna auto sort every box. Oh Jesus Christ! Don't auto sort every box. Don't put your curse upon my inventory. A trophy room with all your stuff that you use the most. I will be continuing building on Cooney Hills. What we'll do is I don't know. You know what, though? I think the best way to do it, like, next week, what we'll do this weekend, I think, is we will get Cooney Hills done. That is my aim for this weekend. And what we'll do next week is I'll make, like, a server tour video. We'll put that out maybe, like, Monday or Tuesday. And then during the week, what I'll do is I'll do some recording. And then I'll go for a cut, and we'll do a lot of work. What I'll do is I'll stream that. I'll stream that cut. So we'll stream for a couple hours, and I can get my work done. We'll catch up. And then I'll go and then do another recording, like kind of like I would be doing normally, but it'll be spread out over the week, so you guys will have like a week's worth of work in one episode on the weekend. That would be pretty damn cool too. We'll try that out, see how that works, because not everyone's into streaming, right? A lot of people actually prefer streaming as well too, over Let's Plays. So it's best to both worlds. Yes. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm actually gonna mod auto sort out. And make it mandatory that you have to install the mod somehow to play this round. So you can't play without auto sort. I will remove it. I'll remove it like nerd pulling. I don't mind auto sort in the boxes of inventory. I hate auto sort in my personal inventory. I just don't know why. I don't like that button in my personal. I hate it. It's, to me, that's like throwing all your stuff in your room. It might not be organized and in order and stuff, but you know where it is, right? And then having like your mom or your girlfriend or, you know, whatever lifestyle you live, come in your room and then organize it all again. And then now you don't know where it is, but it's organized. You know what I mean? That to me is what like the inventory organization button's like. Matt Gamer, how you doing, man? Welcome back. Good to see you again. Good to see you. Welcome back. Alright, so we got a lot of dirt from this side. So let's go over and peel off some more stuff over here. Oh, that was lucky. Pure luck. MLG. Shit, she saw me anyways. Son of a bitch. Say goodbye to your head. Say goodbye to yours. Woo! Dog just tickled my foot. Okay, you know what? We're gonna go around with a sledgehammer. We're gonna do some head slamming. Yeah. Oh shit! Is there another screamer? Oh, there is two. We got two on the way. Son of a bitch. Come here, you dummy. Okay, the heat might be too high now. I think it would be a good idea to actually head back for the night, this cycle. Because, like, usually I just AFK and do stuff on the other monitor on the overnight on that one camp out nearby. But we're actually streaming, so we're not far from home. Smashing heads is the best. Fall over. No, no, like, special zombies. That's actually kind of surprising. That was 2 screams in a row. See ya. Whoa. Swing and a miss. Okay, we cool now? We good? Holy shit. Gotta get them zombie counts up. Ah, there's one over here. Nope. This thing's badass. Imagine actually walking around with a sledgehammer and owning in a zombie apocalypse. Just walking around with a sledgehammer over your shoulder, just like it ain't no deal. It ain't no deal. Know what I mean? Don't die. Yeah, no, we're okay. I usually don't die by like zombie hordes and stuff in this playthrough. Unless I fall into like a pit of them, then yeah, I die. I die a lot that way. What I think I'm going to have to do because of the forges, because there's going to be a one hella heat map there when we get back, is I'm going to have to turn the forges off and then turn them back on and come in the morning. I think that's what we're going to have to do. And I do apologize, guys. I know a lot of you don't like watching this stuff. You want to see some more of this or some more of that, but it's the reality of streaming. Got to get with MD. You can heat it up, and he can get his glorious combat. Last time I did a horde night with MD, we ended up being like an hour apart. I was in Canadian time and he was in American time. It was an absolute disaster. Oh, it was crazy. It was really weird. Like we were both like, he was so desynced from the game by the end of that horde night that like there's a different time displaying for him. Like watching his video is actually kind of funny of that horde night. But yeah, MD's been streaming a lot as well too. So there's probably going to be a lot more collaboration. The one thing, guys, I did go on the 7 Days to Die forums today, and I did go on a little bit of a rant. But I think it's true though how like difference between the Twitch and YouTube communities. I've managed to create a good community on YouTube. I believe it's pretty large. There's a lot of active people and a lot of active players. But you don't see the communities on YouTube that you do on Twitch, right? It's because like on YouTube, when you log into the sites, you're not directed to like your subs anymore. You know what I mean? It's all suggested. It's all next. It's all this. It's all that, right? Like it directs you to randomly click around the site and just watch random stuff, right? Instead of being like where the YouTube used to be, you'd log into YouTube and bam, all your stuff that you watch came up on your front page. It's not that way anymore, and it's created a very competitive environment on YouTube. because you need that FaceTime now. You know what I mean? You can't just rely on the fact that someone that's subbed to you is actually going to see your stuff. You have to try to get your videos pushed so that it's recommended to your subs that are watching other videos. It's freaking weird what they've done with it. But on Twitch you don't have that. Whoa, shit. Because when you go to Twitch, you see all your favorites right away. So die, dog. No scope. No scope. No scope. Oh, shit. Swing and a miss. Haha. Did we get any more? Ah, they're all over here. Let's use the club this time. But yeah, that's why I think the popularity vote's going to turn out really bad for 7 days with all of that stuff. Because, like, honestly, like, YouTube pits us against each other. Like, you very rarely now see content creators, like, collabing. Like, there's the original groups of people that are together, but they're not growing. If anything, they're shrinking. You know what I mean? Like, gone are the days of people playing on the same server together, making great things together. It's all about trying to pull the views away from each other because you're really fighting for them now. I really hope eventually YouTube switches away from that. Because, honestly, when I go to YouTube, I only really want to see the stuff right away that I go to YouTube for. Now if I watch it and I continue going on, that's a bonus, right? So yeah, who knows? We'll see what happens with YouTube. It's hard to make a good community on YouTube. Like I'm Midnight Designer and we have a pretty good rapport, but you know, it's how it is. I'm thinking of approaching more people come Alpha 16. There's a few smaller content creators out there that are really good too, and I wouldn't mind incorporating like some sort of like Let's Play server. That would be pretty freaking sick. Like a lot of people don't want to do Let's Play servers because they're like, oh well, it's gonna keep running, and if I take a couple days off, I'm gonna be out of time on the. Who cares? You know what I mean? Like if I log in one day, because like I've learned, you guys like only watching Horde Nights for so long. It's a fact. Horde Nights only sell views for a very short period of time. So like if I miss a Horde night, it's not that big of a deal. You know, the timeline's going to be a little skewed, but at least it'll be a little funner. Because we'll be able to like do easy collabs, right? Like I'll swing by Buddy's place. Oh look, Buddy's here. Let's say hi. You know what I mean? Like how Minecraft used to do it with their servers. To be honest, I'm actually guilty of watching a guy called Mumbo Jumbo. Very, very good content creator. He's very conservative. Like I find him legitimate. Like I don't know. I can appreciate when he actually gets excited about something. And he doesn't like go overboard as well either. And he's a builder, right? That's what he does. And he does a good job at it. And he's been slow growth. Like I was watching him back when he had like 200,000 subs. I think he's well past 1.5 million now. But he's grown slow, and he's actually gone way past all the other guys that boomed past him. Like boomed right off the bat, like doing the Let's Plays and stuff. So I kind of want to bring my channel back to that, where it's tutorials and stuff like that. A few Let's Plays, but mostly tutorials and a lot of streaming. Let's Plays are fun, but I can only be so energetic about Let's Plays for so long. Okay, it's time to head home here, guys. It's 1900. I think we got a decent haul. We're going to get our dirt going here, too. And our heat map up there should start slowing down overnight as well. I'm always late. What is your background? What's my background? Hey, that's my room. How you doing, Jamie? I watch Mumbo Jumbo. I love Mumbo Jumbo. He's easy to listen to. Honestly, like, I like getting excited. Don't get me wrong. I love getting excited. But watching someone, like, not necessarily his new stuff, but watching PewDiePie's older stuff, for me, just, it kind of makes me go, ugh. Because you could tell he's like, yeah, you know what I mean? It's a complete face. He's not actually excited about it. And it was funny, because years later, he actually came forward and said, yeah, I was completely faking it. Like, it wasn't my thing. But you can only do that for so long, it burns you out. Like, he burned out on it. He went on the vlogs and stuff, and I'm just not into that at all anymore. There was a short period of time where I actually really liked PewDiePie's stuff. But, like, everyone, like, a lot of content creators, right? They go through stages. You watch them for a while. they disappear off your radar, or you stop playing the game and they disappear off your radar. Like Mumble Jumbo, there would be times when I like it would be like 3 weeks and I'd be like, oh, I haven't even checked his channel in a while, but I'm subscribed to him and I watch his stuff, but I have no idea that he's putting out new stuff. You know what I mean? It's that subconscious thing. If YouTube actually delivered it all, I would actually consciously watch him more. I really would, but it always never reminds me. Mumbo Jumbo has 1,613,000 subs. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like he went the straight and narrow and just kept going, right? Like he didn't. He stuck to what he was good at, and although it was slow and it wasn't the end thing, he's made it way farther than the guys who boomed. Like there's some guys on YouTube with like 5-6 million subs on Minecraft that only get half of his views now. It's because a lot of his original audience moved on to other games. He's really good with redstone though. Oh my god. Mumbo Jumbo's like the king when it comes to that crap. I don't know if you guys were into Minecraft at all. Obviously I was because I'm a builder, but god, that guy is so good at redstone. I have to slow him down. His videos are quick. There we go. Look at that. 50 minutes to make 1001... is that grassy ground that I'm making? Yes. Okay, perfect. Cool, Mohammed. I hope you do too, buddy. I hope you're having a good day, man. We need haze here. Oh, I know, eh? Yup. The YouTube trolling environment is real. Alright. Let's turn this on for 3 minutes. And then turn the rest off. Because we're going to have some crazy screamer action here going on soon. I have a feeling tonight's going to be a little bit of fighting off some screamers. So remind me to turn these bad boys back on when I leave. Oh, we should be able to make some more cement now, too, as well. Because it's all done. I should be taking it out. There we go. We remove all the cement. Turn off. Like, yeah. I usually watch your videos on 2x speed. I don't know how you could do that, dude. That's annoying. Okay. Oops. Gotta turn that off. There we go. Bam. Turn off. Perfect. Bam. Bam. Nice. So we have quite a bit of cement now. We'll be able to make a fair amount of mix. This last little batch should... Actually, you know what? I don't even really need to turn these back on. We don't even really need to go back, to be honest. I am going to turn this off for safety's sake, though. Just in case. Okay, let's drop off this random shit and go and make some stuffs. Looks like Muhammad just learned himself some words. Cool, dude. I'm kind of happy that you got some learning here done. But unfortunately in English, those words aren't acceptable as a social norm. So there you go. I love it when little kids try to get a raise out of me. Kids, I'm an adult. It doesn't work the same. Hey, William, how you doing, man? Welcome, welcome. Sad trolls. I know, right? Oh, that's funny. That's YouTube, though. Like, honestly, if you ever want to, like, become successful in YouTube, take that attitude towards them, right? Like, who's having a shittier time? The guy alone by himself behind a screen trying to bring down the guy on the screen? Or the guy on the screen with a whole bunch of people watching, right? I actually feel bad for the poor guy. He obviously has some social issues that he needs to work out. Hope he does one day. And that iron we're actually going to hold on to. Ah, screw it. It can go in there. Stone we'll take, though. Steel can go in there. We'll come back and organize this shit another time. I always say that. What else don't we need? Gas, we don't need that. Splints we don't need on us. Auger we don't need because we're going to be doing no more digging. Doggo in the background. Does he keep making appearances? Is that what's happening? Yeah, you guys are going to hear a lot more tapping in my videos now. His little claws too just tap, 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 tap on the floor, but they're not loud. You should hear my big dog walk across the floor. It's like, I don't even know how to make a loud tap sound. How do you make a loud tap sound? Is that even a thing? Okay, so let's grab up a shitload of stone here and some sand and make ourselves what we need to make. Just getting over a cold. Oh, colds suck. Fortunately, I was actually fortunate enough this winter not to get an actual full-blown cold. I got incredibly fortunate. I fucking hate colds with a passion. We're gonna need some more stone, but whatever. There we go. Fill me up. Looks like a wood stove. What are you talking about in the background? It's a gas insert stove. So it's made to look like a wood stove, but it runs by gas. It's actually nice and warm. I love it. I love having like an actual legit stove back there. But yeah, technically it's a legit stove. I love it. Gas, like there's that and then gas forced, but I actually use that more often than not. Because it just heats up your local room anyways. Where are we going here? We need some more stonage. That is what we needed. See what else we got going on. Is this survival? You got it right. Oops, I'm on the wrong screen here. Here we go. Perfect. Alright, so I'm going to grab myself up some sandage here. There we go. And we will finish making up the rest of our mix. If it wasn't survival, dude, you wouldn't see me bothering. Like, I would just be building, man. Okay. Or if it wasn't survival. You know what I mean. Derp, it's been a long day. I still have a lot on my mind. I have a lot to do this evening. This little guy here isn't housebroken, so I'm sure there's a surprise or two waiting for me after this. He's getting better, though. He's getting the point. Like, I'm getting I've house trained dogs before. And it usually only takes me like about a week or two to get them house trained. He's a little bit of a challenge because I've never owned a small breed. How you doing, buddy? I've never owned a small breed, and he's 16 years old. So I've never housebroken like a really old dog. I don't know if he's doing it like out of jealousy. Like I don't even know his personality yet very much either. But yeah, stop peeing on the floor, you little brat. At least it's small and easy to clean up. And like my runners, I can take them outside and rinse them out. I bought like really, really good commercial runners, and I bring them outside and I can rinse them down with a hose, and they're dry within 10 minutes in the sun. They're friggin' amazing. They're so good for the winter or like the spring too with all the mud. They keep all the mud in one spot, and I can rinse it out. Okay, so we don't have the forges going because we're waiting on the heat map to dissipate. We were making a concrete mix. Let's put our leftovers away here. Perfect. Just one lonely one by itself. And let's get myself together all the stuff we need to do building. Oh, you know what? We need to get other stuff as well. More rebar frames. So I'm going to have to rent a forge here for a bit to make some more frames. Yeah, we have 161 left. That's definitely not enough. Let's get some more frames going on here. He's a cutie for sure. Did you guys see like the tweets and stuff of him? I got like the perfect boomerang of him. Yes, I got one of those new fancy phones now, and I know how to do boomerangs. But yeah, like I got a perfect boomerang of him. I had to get him in the shower because like literally he would walk by you and just like leave a trail of like stank. It was bad. But you couldn't really touch him very much. He'd freak out. So I waited a couple days, and then when I showered him, once he got into the shower though, and I lathered him up and I was petting him and stuff, he loved that. But once he got out of the shower, he ran around the house wagging his tail and like doing a crazy shake. It was actually kind of cool. So he likes showers, which is really good. He's easy to bathe. I think that for him would actually end up being a trust exercise out of all things. Usually baths are not trust exercises, period. They just freak out. Skippy need health. I don't need health. Health is for suckers. I need food. I need to get some food up here. I'm not going to eat chili because that's for my company. I'm going to eat my meat stew here. Let's do some of that up. I don't have my HUD up because for some reason my mods are all gone. Damn it. Okay, we need yucca juice too because it is cold over there. Or it is hot over there. You know what, actually? We're getting up to a pretty high level now. I'm gonna actually we're gonna shortcut across this way because it's nighttime. We're gonna shortcut across up here, and then just nerd pull up and keep doing the frames at night because we don't have to really worry about the zombies right now, like at all. We're good to go on that one. Here we go. This is where my elevator is. My hatch elevator. I never filled in these frames because I intended on moving this at some point in time anyways. I won't be doing the elevator hatch system for the release. I just wanted to get the exterior done and then let you guys go to town on it and do whatever you want. I guess I could too eventually come in here and pick out all the extra rebar frames. There's probably quite a bit in here. Okay, let's keep going. Let's see. I'm definitely not high enough. I'm going to need to go up a couple levels. I need to get higher. It always get higher. Skippy, you need to go fight zombies barehanded. Oh, dude, I do that in real life. I don't want to do that in a video game. I play this to relax, man. What are you thinking, bro? Okay. Oh, we're so close. I can taste it. I can taste success. It tastes bittersweet. Yeah, we're still a few layers up here. Oh, look. Oh, never mind. That's where I fucked up. I was like an unupgraded part, but that's one of the, the little side ones. Damn it. Okay, you know what? Let's go upwards and just go to the top level. Fuck, that was close. That would have sucked. Is that a zombie bear down there too? Oh wait, no, that's a pole. Holy shit, I thought that was a zombie bear. No, that's a pole. That actually just kind of freaked me out a bit. I hate it when you get zombie bears randomly. It happens. I've gotten random zombie bears. No screamers, nothing. Just random zombie bear. Oh, this is a horrible nerd pole going up the middle. Yeah, I'm going to have to come in here after and clean this all up at some point. There are so many frames back here. And yeah, like we only have, how many more levels do we have left? Not very much. We don't have very much left at all. Let's go up this way. Oh, there's a block that didn't cure up there, but you know what? It's close to the top. That's easy to fix. We can fix that. We can get that done. That's not a problem. There's no real weight on it. I want to get rid of that. That triggers me right there. That makes me very angry. When there's blocks of unfinished concrete, it just didn't set. Hate that. So we got 1, 2, oh, 2 more levels and then the top level? Fucking rights. Alright, let's get to work on this. Sick. He throws glitter. Nice. Glitter is great for any occasion. I just don't recommend it for funerals. People tend to get a little upset about it. Hey, Jay, what's up, man? We should mod in a backhoe. Could you imagine this big clunky thing moving through the 7 days to die environment? Not working correctly? I really, I want them to refine the vehicles a little bit before they try to add anything else in. Because people like want cars and stuff, and honestly, that shit on a voxel game, it doesn't work out very well. Look at the Space Engineer games and stuff. Anything that's big and moving on a vox game sucks. It sucks. Just doesn't work out very well. So I don't think we'll ever actually legitimately see large moving vehicles on 7 Days to Die. And if we do, it'll be some janky ass shit. That's why, like, even boats on Minecraft suck. They go fucking crazy, they get desynced with the server, and you end up in different places. Like, that's why, like, 7 Days to Die I don't think's bother with boats, because it's hard to track things like that, I think. I think that's what it is. So, it was explained to me at one point in time, I can't remember. Whoa! That was luck. I didn't take out the one at like the far end. We would have collapsed. Okay. I want to remove those frames in. No, I don't use Pumpkinhead. It gets in the way. Alright. This wedding is bringing people together. Let's just all get married. I mean, we may as well. Everyone has the right to do whatever they want. So let's just all get married and see what they have to say about that. That way we can all claim each other's incomes on taxes and then save a bundle. Claim each other's children. Right? A wedding cake out of Timbits and donuts? That's funny. Oh, we got a Canadian in the house. Are you Canadian, Jolene? I didn't know you were Canadian. Oh, that's so sick. Polygamy. Polygamy? What the fuck is polygamy? Free food and booze brings all the people together. Well, free food brings people together. Free booze makes them committed to each other for life at sometimes. Well, not even really anymore. That's not the standard. Stupid me sticking to old school stuff. I swear, guys, I'm going to go to Valley Village one of these days. I'm going to find a cane. And anytime I go on a rant about stuff, I'm going to shake the cane at you guys. I think that's going to happen. That's a thing. I was thinking about that one today. I was like, I need a cane for my stream. Maybe a walker for the background. That way, if I need to go get something on stream, I can just grab my walker and roll away. I'm Canadian? Oh, cool, William. Oh, Manitoba. Oh, okay, cool. I didn't know there's people there. 1, 2...
I learn a lot from the internet.
I didn't know. Okay, Google. Go fuck yourself.
Here's a matching video.
Oh, what did it give me for the video? That was really random. My phone just started talking to me. Oh, the song's literally called Go Fuck Yourself by Trap City. Oh, no. 2 Feet. Called Fuck Yourself by 2 Feet. Alright. It's really weird. When I nerd pull up and they bring enough frames. Oh, that happens. Never. Sometimes. All the time. Oh, look, it's daytime again. Nice. Did you just bark at Lex? Did he scare you? What are you doing, Gramps? Oh, here's Gramps, guys. He never makes an appearance. You guys want to see Gramps? Want to see Gramps? Here we go. Hi, buddy. Say hi to everybody. Say hello. Say hi. Yes. Good boy. You're going to go now? Okay. That's funny. Yeah. He rarely ever comes over when I'm streaming to come say hi. So that was a special occasion, guys. It's a special occasion. His old grampy face. Barf. See what I mean? He has a really raspy bark. He has an extremely raspy bark. Like it's really weird. It's not very loud either, and I can tolerate that. If it's not loud, I think I can deal with that. But like the small dogs that have like the really loud, like ear piercing bark that's really high pitched. Ugh. Oh, he's black like me. Oh, that's funny. That gray muzzle. I know, he's so distinguished. He doesn't look like an old dog. He looks distinguished. He's a very handsome old dog. Very well groomed. I keep him well groomed and bathed and everything all the time. Well fed. So yeah, he's an happy old man. It's good to have him around every day. Like he's 18, so like every day I have him is like a bonus. You know what? Actually, they might need to go to the washroom. What time is it? 5:14. Ooh, yeah. You know what? They actually probably need to go to the washroom. That's what they're being antsy about. It's washroom time. The small dogs already figured out a routine. It's friggin' amazing. But yeah, guys, I think on that note, I gotta go, and I gotta let my dog out. Is that him again? Yeah, I think he's barking at the door now. He needs to go out. I've been teaching him to do that, so I think that's a sign. So I'm gonna end the stream here, guys. I'm gonna let my poor dog is out. It's my fault. I should have before stream. I totally forgot. I just looked at the time. I was like, oh, because I was planning the stream at 5, but then it's a little. Oh wait, you know what? Sorry, guys. We got to do a giveaway. before I go, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. We's got to do the giveaway here. So I'm actually going to quit the game, and we're going to go to a full screen chat here. And hey there, little guy. I hear you barking. Hey, he was trying to play with me earlier today, and he was barking at me too. So he might be trying to play with Lex now. I hope so. Lex needs a playmate. But let's go ahead, guys. What I'm giving away is a key for... it's only PC Steam. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't pick out the key. It's only for PC Steam. You get all 4 episodes of The Walking Dead, plus the 5th one that's due out on May 30th. So it's a Season's Pass for The Walking Dead by Telltale Games. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a giveaway for that. I'm going to, it takes a second to get it set up here. And then what I ask, if you're the winner, come over to my Discord, message me on Discord, and we'll get you set up. How about that? Okay, so let's go ahead and do this giveaway here. I'm going to do control giveaway. We're going to call this raffle The Walking Dead. I hope you didn't pee on the floor already. You probably did. It's probably too late. The Walking Dead Seasons Pass. There we go. It's actually a pretty valuable pass, too. It's worth quite a bit of money. I forget what it's worth, but the raffle command is I don't know, Bruiser. There we go. We'll go Bruiser. Bruiser. Because that's my new dog's name, and I got to learn it because I call him Brutus now because that's what I was told his name was. Whoops. And entry cost is going to be 1. It's going to be 1. You guys will have 3 minutes to get in. It's not going to be a long one. It'll be 3 minutes. We'll just talk and shoot the shit here while it's going. And you can enter multiple entries. You can enter as many times as you want, but the entry is 1 point every time. So you have to enter multiple times to get multiple entries. So here we go. Start the raffle. You guys should already seen it in stream already anyways. There you guys go. It's up in the stream. Enjoy that. You didn't get in yet, JC. You guys were low. Oh, wait. There you go. Now you got it. Awesome. So I didn't pay for this, guys. I'll tell the truth. I'm on a few mailing lists for keys and stuff. I get random keys all the time. Usually I just do a shout out on my Discord and give them out. But this one's pretty valuable. So I was like, why not put that shit into my stream? I figured that'd be a good idea. Give it away. I won't use it. I'm not into like the story play type deal thingy going on. So yeah. Yeah, there's 7 Dukes. Congratulations. But yes, you will have to go over to my Discord afterwards, guys. So if you aren't on my Discord, you may as well join the community. Tons of 7 Days to Die players. Come check it out. Join my Discord there. You can find there's Creativerse. There's a Creativerse community. There is a Boundless community. Boundless is a little quiet right now. We're waiting on the update, but it is what it is. I am so behind on The Walking Dead. That's funny. On the actual video, or on the actual like game, or the actual like show. I'm caught up on the show. That's for sure. Cupcake frosting, give me Bruiser. That's funny. We have 1 minute and 42 seconds left here for the giveaway. Look at all the bruisers and the commands. That's funny. You still on season 2 of The Walking Dead? Nice. I miss like the early Walking Dead days when like the zombie thing wasn't overdone. Oh, how do you guys like the new lighting, by the way? It's really nice. Like you can actually see my face now. The background's a little darker, but it's not as important as the foreground, I guess. I don't look like a shadowy figure in the shadows anymore. Jaybird. Spamming that bruiser. I think you can only do it so many times in a row too before YouTube tells you that you're spamming. There you go. Someone put the Discord link. You can also do ! Discord. You can go down to the description. My Discord link is in there as well too. And my website for the server, publicly available 7 Days to Die server, is www.skippy3.com. You don't spell out 3. It's literally Skippy and the number 3.com. It's right at the IP and the port's right up at the top, and all the details for everything else, all the commands on the server, everyone else is there. Jay, the background is nice. Yeah, it's my house, dude. I have my fireplace back there. In the winter, it's usually on. So you guys, if I'm still here next winter and stuff, and that's still there, who knows what's gonna happen, right? I don't plan anything. That will actually be on, but it's summer, so I won't see that on. Yeah, there we go. So we still got 10 seconds left. 9 seconds. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I know, Justin, it's so much better, dude. And I don't look as like drowned out, right? Because like I could adjust the camera so that those are brighter than my monitors. Okay, so who won that? Who won that? Oh wait, I gotta draw the winner. What am I doing? Or did it draw the winner already? No time left, no raffle running. Where did the fucking winner go? I must have missed it. Okay, I gotta go back and go through. Go through here. Where did it announce the winner? Uh-oh. It didn't. Did it say anything? Okay, guys, you got to give the bot a minute here. It's over, guys. It's over. I'm going back to the chat here. I don't see where it announced it. No, the bot's still responding. I don't see it. It says time left 0 seconds, no raffle running. Yeah, it's not letting me draw a winner either. Fuck. I don't know if it took away your points. You know what? I'm actually gonna look this up here. I'm gonna look this up here. See if it took your points away on ya. Okay, let's go to Jesus, I love doing this stuff live. It's so much fun. Okay, we're gonna go to viewers. Okay, does it still say you guys have points? Is it still saying you guys have points? Yeah, it does. It's still saying you guys have points. So we're gonna have to run this again. I'm gonna run this again, guys. We'll run it for 3 minutes. I am so sorry. I don't know what happened there. Maybe I waited too long and I didn't draw a winner. I think that's what it might have been. I was expecting it to auto draw, but now there's a button. Like I said, a few things have changed, so that's probably my fuck up. It doesn't look like you guys actually lost anything. So let's go ahead and do the giveaway here again. Here we go. We'll start the raffle. You have 3 minutes. Give her a go again, guys. Sorry about that. That's my bad. There you guys go. Yeah, I have no idea what happened there, man. Bruiser rigged it. Yeah, he did. He's like, I want to win. There you guys go. You should be able to do it again. I got 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes left. My poor dogs, too. They want to go outside. Sorry, guys. 1 second. Watch the stream for 2 hours. Brandon Gobel. That's actually pretty good, dude. Is this your first stream, man? Ooh, I gotta actually switch over to my OBS too so I can see exactly what's happening right now. Look at all the bruisers in the stream. That's insane. This is flying up the screen. The Gaul army. How you doing, man? A race to the end. Okay, so we're at 2 minutes. I'm gonna watch the clock very carefully this time, and if the draw winner button pops up, I'm gonna go ahead and draw it. I think last time maybe it timed out. I think that's what happened. I was thinking it was gonna auto draw for me, but apparently not. Apparently not. What a pain in the ass. Love it. The stream went well. I started the stream with no audio. I was talking away, full screen like this, as you guys can see me talking. And then we end the stream with having to do a double draw because I'm a big dummy. It just didn't work out. Okay, 1.5 minutes. This better work this time. Yeah, good luck to everybody. No, I've seen a lot of your streams. Oh, okay. Yeah, 2 hours like active chat time is actually quite a bit. I'm sorry, man. I try to remember everyone's names, but it doesn't happen. Medicine hats. I've worn a medicine hat before. It was pretty warm. I know where that is, though, in Alberta. Alberta. Got a lot of bruisers going on. We still got 58 seconds left here, guys. And then hopefully that button pops up. I think I spelt the command right. I did. Okay, we are good to go. Cupcake. That's funny. I do like being able to switch in between stuff like this, so it's pretty friggin' awesome. I will have to admit. Like, this Stream Deck's amazing. I'm not showing it off like I was yesterday. Oh, I was showing everyone my deck yesterday. Everyone had a good look at my deck. My hard deck. Alright. We got 30 seconds left here, guys. 30 seconds and a little bit of cold coffee. Holy crap. You can actually see my eyes now. I actually have eyes. With tiny little irises because it's really bright in here. My eyes are actually kind of starting to water a bit. I can't look up at them. I just have to keep looking straight. Actually, you know what? I think after a while of getting used to this... Wow, those batteries actually... I'm going to drain both of these batteries down. I'm going to let these lights run tonight. And see how many hours these lights will run off those batteries. Because I bought like the highest capacity batteries I could find. Okay, no time left. Did it do its thing? Okay, it didn't do anything again. Yeah, and there's no draw winner button. BRUISCR. And automatically draw a winner. It's not drawing the winner. Yes, that's right. I do have it on automatically draw winner after the time ends. And it's not doing it. It must be broken, guys. I do apologize. There is nothing I can do about it. Oh, fuck, that sucks. You know what? I'll have to give it away tomorrow. We'll try it again tomorrow. What we'll do at the beginning of the stream is we'll do a test draw for like 50 tokens. To see if that works. I am so sorry, guys. I really wanted to give that away, but it's literally not working. It's not saying who won. Cause yeah, I don't see it in the stream at all. Maybe I should take it off automatically. You know what, guys? It's me. I won. That's funny. What if I take it off automatically draw the winner? You know what? I'm going to take it off automatically draw the winner, guys. I feel horrible about this, and I'm really dragging this out on you. What we're going to do is I'm going to put it down to 2 minutes. We're going to go 2 minutes this time. I'm going to take away the automatically draw a winner, so I have to do it manually, and we'll see what happens this time. Hopefully this works. I'm sorry, guys, but at least you're not like losing out, right? Okay, let's get going. 2 minutes for this one. Bam. Fuck, I put 4 minutes. Do you want to cancel? Yes, I want to cancel. 2 minutes. There we go. Now I can start the raffle. Okay, so we have 2 minutes for the fucking raffle. Let's hope it fucking works this time. That's weird. Maybe it's the auto pick that's not working right. So you just do Bruiser for one entry into it. Or when are you planning on streaming tomorrow? Probably later, like today as well, too. I'll probably be in the evening, man. Okay, this better work this time. If not, I'm going to actually... the guy who made this bot is actually really good with communicating. Discord, once again. I can actually message him on Discord, and he will get back to me if there's a problem. So, it's pretty cool. I just need my coffee machine. Coffee. I'm thinking of actually upgrading my coffee pot maker. My coffee pot maker. My coffee maker. Okay, so we got 1 minute left here. We're 1 minute down. And then I can apparently manually draw the winner, so hopefully that works. And if that's the case, then... Actually, you know what? I should be doing that in the first place, because then I can control when the winner goes into the chat, so I can see it. Especially if the chat's flying like that. Because the chat is just going absolutely wild right now. Hey, how you doing, Ethan? Welcome, welcome. Okay, 39 seconds left. Jolene, boobies. Classy. Hey, Ethan. Yeah, you just caught us at the back end of a giveaway here, man. Mullet cult. I wouldn't call it a cult. Just we're really, really passionate about not allowing other people who don't have mullets to exist. Okay, so we got 7 seconds, 6 seconds, 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. That was a little odd. Oh, and there we go. And raffle's running. The draw winner button's not freaking coming up. It's just sitting on raffle is running. Yeah, the bot's broken, guys. I am so sorry we can't do the giveaway here today. That sucks, guys. I am so sorry. What we'll do is I'll try to get this fixed. We'll do it test run. We'll do a test run tomorrow, first thing on the stream, and give away some points. But anyways, guys, I do want to thank you for hanging out and spamming the chat with Bruiser for the last 7 minutes. It's been fantastic. Talk about driving the user interaction up, right? But yeah, guys, anyways, it's over. It's over. You can stop spamming Bruiser. We're going to take off here. I'm going to play my end screen so you guys have some time to say goodbye to each other and my lurkers know that this stream is over. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you, of course, again tomorrow and look forward to a Let's Play coming out on Saturday and Sunday. Peace out, guys. Have a good one. Stay classy.